So disease is caused by the impairment of the mizaj or temperament, and drugs of opposite temperament provide beneficial response. He is Ibn Sina, the author of a Kanun fil Tibb, Canon of Medicine. Most important landmark in the Unani system of medicine is from Abubakr Muhammad bin Zakaria al-Razi, which is commonly known as Razi. He was born in 240 Hijri in Iran. He studied Indian medicine. He was chief medical officer in the hospital of Baghdad. He became blind at the age of 60, and he has written many books, and 29 books are still available. Now what Razi did was that earlier to that, there was substitution of drugs without any record. Now Razi compiled all those substitutions, and he has described 122 drugs which can be substituted and for which he has given substitutions. And most of these drugs have been identified botanical names. 31 have still remained to be identified. Composition of compound drugs is not provided. Their botanical names could not be ascertained. This exercise I did with Dr. Ziaur Rahman. We collected whatever material was available in the Unani al-Advia college or the Unani Pharmacopoeia committee, and I met members and all that. And we could not get the name of 31 drugs which were advocated by Razi for substitution. Now, what we found was that Unani physicians in India added 50 more drugs for which they are using substitutions. So the total number became 172. This is a book, Maqala fi al-Advia, al-Mustamara fi al-Tibb wa al-Ilaj. This is Kitab al-Abdul, which is known commonly, and this I obtained from Central Council for Research Unani Medicine, and this book has given the compilation of all those substitutions. Now what Razi said, all the drugs required for the treatment are not available everywhere. So if the physician is unaware of substitutes which may be used in place of the original drug, the objectivity and benefaction of this medical profession would cease. There could be many reasons why they wanted to use substitution. One could be the drug is not available. One could be the drug could not be transported from where it was to come. The drug could be expensive, so they wanted to use a cheaper substitute and whatever. Now, compound drugs with their substitution, they have also been described. Dawa Post with Dawa Kurkum or Dawa Luk, Rogane Hina with Rogane Marzan Josh, Rogane Gul with Rogane Barsha. Now, Avicenna also laid some principles. Substitute should only be used when original drug meant to be used is not available. No drug can be complete substitute. Razi drug should be substituted for original drug for specific activity, and different drugs may be substituted for different actions. Substitution should match the original drug in jars. Now when they substitute the drug, they can substitute a drug of animal origin with a plant origin drug. Jun bella star with black pepper, calcinated washed egg shell with another plant. One species of plant can be substituted for another species, and another part of the plant may also serve as a substitute. Now, there are some facts. Only 5% of 500,000 species of plants have been screened for biological activity. Plant products constitute 25% of the prescribed drugs. So there is enough scope to go for screening those plants which have not been explored as yet. Now, traditional medicine has a poor positioning on the global scale, ignored by the global scientific community, very little scientific research validations, very little publication in peer-reviewed scientific journals, and deliberate negative propaganda. I will not deliberate on these, but these are some of the facts which have come to our light. But there are certain drawbacks also. Why ADR monitoring is difficult for herbal drugs? That is one important question. Because when we allow them substitution, so any manufacturer can use a substitute and may not mention it on the cover of the drug. And when that is there, then what you are benefit? You do not know. So formulation can be changed at will, keeping the same brand name. Then the terminology is also different. WHO has got a terminology in English, and Unani physician or Ayurvedic physician, they are not conversant with that technology or terminology. So that is also a difficult situation. For the benefit of mainly Ayurveda students and for the benefit of those Unani physicians who understand Hindi, because I am not so conversant with the Arabic terms and all that, so I could not translate in Urdu. So this translation I have made for adverse drug reaction terminology of WHO, and this was published by Society of Pharmacovigilance India. Now, some questions also arise. Do physicians monitor Mijas? Now, what is happening is that Unani physicians have also started acquiring the same methodology which is being adopted by the allopathic system of medicine. Allopathic system of medicine, as I said in the beginning, is a disease-oriented system. Unani system is not a disease-oriented system, it is a holistic system. So for holistic system, you have to monitor the Mijas. You have to find out the deficiencies of Mijas and correct them. But the question is, do the physicians monitor Mijas? Do physicians prescribe drug opposite to the Mijas? This is again a question mark. Unani pharmaceutical houses manufacture disease-oriented drugs and not to cater Mijas. Physicians prescribe according to disease, because that they have learned from allopathic system of medicine. So there are some. Now, what is required in rationality for substitution drug? Clinical trials for efficacy and safety are required if substitutions are being used. And Unani drugs should be compared with other drugs, other systems of medicine which are more prevalent and common and popular with the physicians and the public. And many Unani physicians say no. There are several articles in which they have specifically said no. Because what the reasons they gave is, Unani is a holistic system, opposite Mijas or drugs selected for treatment, and besides that, when it is holistic, they would like to control the diet, behavior, lifestyle and all that of the patient. But still they can be compared. You control all these things in both the groups and give medicine of one pathy to one group and other pathy to other group, and then you can find the drug benefit ratio, and drug-oriented system not relevant. They want to. So there's a long, tedious, unending journey ahead, although it must happen. Then drug regulatory authorities, the pharmacopoeial permission for substitution. It is provided by the Unani Pharmacopoeia Committee. Pharmacovigilance, what to monitor, that is the problem of the pharmacovigilance people. A regulation required to mention ingredients on insert and labels. Qualitative and quantitative monitoring is not possible. What we studied was we took a group of plants which were for which the substitutes were used. We selected 12 plants which were used in diabetes by the Unani physicians, and from those plants we searched the literature and everything. We found that some were shown to have hypoglycemic activity in clinical trials, others are shown animal experimentation and so on. And what we found was that these three substitutes, Euphorbia aorta, it has been reported to have hypoglycemic activity, but the substitution suggested Euphorbia thumbifolia is not hypoglycemic. Fumaria parviflora, Cassia angustifolia, its substitute, does not have hypoglycemic activity. Coriandrum sativum, which can be replaced by Papaver somniferum, also does not have hypoglycemic activity. So this, with the modern technology, which is available with us, we can go ahead and find out. Laboratory, phytochemistry, pharmacology, other tools are available. And may have been based on erroneous clinical observation of some persons who suggested these substitution. Substitution based on mizaj, appearance and other physical properties, taste, color, smell, burning and freezing properties of the drug. This was the committee in 2008. I was a member when we started the pharmacovigilance of drugs of Indian systems of medicine. This was held in Department of Ayush, Ministry of Health, and physicians from Unani, Ayurveda, Siddha, and all those were invited. I was the lone person from the other disciplines. But since my background of pharmacovigilance, I have